Yara, Mr. Cromwell needs this proposal ASAP. Sorry to bug you, but finish it before you head out. Molly Leach, Derrick's assistant, dropped a fat stack of papers on my desk, all chipper like we were besties. I took them. Got it. She wasn't done. Still smiling, she threw in, Mr. Cromwell and I have a client meeting later. Just leave the docs on his desk. Oh, and tidy up his office before you go. Then she strutted off like she owned the floor, heels clicking, mood sky-high. Around me, the office fell quiet. My coworkers shot me that awkward look, half pity, half helpless. Everyone knew Derrick Cromwell, CEO of Vantral Corp, was my fiancé. Everyone also knew he blatantly played favorites and Molly was his number one. He'd yanked her from another firm, made her director, then handed her a $1 million project I'd busted 2 months bringing in and prepping. When I pushed back, he called a team vote, thinking everyone would back him. Wrong. The whole team voted for me except him. Molly got 1 vote. He lost it, accused me of stirring up cliques. Didn't just take the project away, he demoted me in front of everyone and slashed the salaries of the people who'd backed me. Nobody dared speak up. Later, he apologized, said didn't want it to look like favoritism. Claimed Molly might feel left out. I used to believe that crap. Now, it's a joke. Molly couldn't even keep up with our interns. Didn't want it to look like favoritism. Please, he was straight up playing favorites. Everyone saw it but him. I heard footsteps upstairs and looked up. Derrick. He showed up at the stairwell, glanced my way, then walked out without saying a word, changed into some casual suit. Even from here, I caught that cedar cologne. He never used to wear cologne. That one, Molly's gift. Yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. He'd been pulling this kind of stuff for years. It started after I found their goodnight texts. Couldn't stay quiet, I confronted him. Derrick said I was being petty. Then, like it proved some point, he used it as an excuse to make it official and moved Molly to work directly under him. The more upset I got, the harder he leaned in, dragging her to every social event, serving her food, even wiping her mouth at company dinners. When we fought, he'd ice me out. When I apologized, he'd round up his buddies to lecture me like I was some jealous mess. For a while, I actually blamed myself. Thought maybe I wasn't generous enough. Thought maybe that's why we ended up here. But on day 3 of one of his silent treatments, when I was too sick to even sit up and he still packed his bags for a trip with Molly, I gave up. That's when it hit me. He wasn't trying to be noble. He just used my pettiness as a shield so he could keep doing what he wanted without feeling guilty. Even if I hadn't caught those late-night chats, he would have just found another excuse to be with her. After their latest business trip, they were still grabbing dinner, drinks, playing tennis, same routine. But something between them had changed. I could feel it. Not that it mattered. 5 years together and it was done. This whole mess had dragged on long enough. I was the last one in the office, finishing up the proposal. Checked my phone, Molly had been busy posting. Candlelit dinner at some fancy spot, 2 plates of steak, Derrick all polished and perfect, cutting hers for her. Caption, steak cut by the CEO himself, it has to taste better. The comments were full of heart emojis and fangirling. A few clueless people even asked when the wedding was. Derrick replied with 3 dots. Molly followed up with a cheeky emoji. No clarification, just like always. But this time I didn't blow up, didn't call him, didn't get scolded for overreacting. I just texted him, proposals done, dropped the docs in his office, refilled the water like he asked, then drove home. The second I walked in, my phone rang. Derrick's number. I picked up, but it wasn't him. Yara, it's Molly. Thanks for your help with the project. I'll treat you to dinner sometime. Her voice was all sugar. Before I could answer, Derrick cut in. No need to thank her, it's her job. Molly teased. Mr. Cromwell, she's your fiancé. Can't you talk to her a little nicer? They sounded like the real couple. I let out a quiet laugh. Derrick, who used to freak out if I even glanced at his phone, now handed it to Molly like it was no big deal. And honestly, I felt weirdly calm. What used to feel like the end of the world suddenly felt small. They kept joking for a bit, then Derrick finally remembered I was still on the line. I'll be back soon. No need to wait, get some rest. Then he hung up. His soon usually meant 4 or 5 hours. I used to pace the whole time, worried sick. But this time I didn't bother. I just walked to the study and looked at the calendar on my desk. Not long ago, Derrick and Molly turned a business trip into a vacation. While they were off playing house, I slipped in my resignation. Derrick was too distracted to notice. He approved it without even reading. 3 more days. Once the handover's done, I'm out. I paused, then called Prof. Harrington, my old research supervisor, now overseas at a top institute. Back when I graduated, I landed a high-tier spot there straight out the gate. But Derrick said he needed help starting his company, and like an idiot, I dropped everything and ran back to our Lensha. Prof. Harrington told me not to. I didn't listen. Looking back now, yeah, I was dumb. Feelings, they shift. Career, that never stabs you in the back. When the call went through, I explained why I was reaching out. I braced for a lecture. Instead, Prof. Harrington sighed. I already heard was thinking about asking you to come back, but this time are you actually sure? I'm sure the resignation's done. Resignation? What resignation? The voice didn't come from the phone. I turned. Derrick stood in the doorway. The call had ended. I locked my phone without a word. While I was still trying to figure out what to say, his phone buzzed. Molly again. She'd found a stray kitten and stopped to buy it a sausage. So cute, Derrick said in a voice message. She shot back right away. The kitten's cute or I'm cute. Then came a selfie, her holding the kitten, pouting with a peace sign. Derrick smiled. The kitten's cute, but you're cuter. Then, like suddenly remembering I existed, his face shut down. He turned to me, all cold. Didn't I tell you to get some rest? Why are you still up? The tone shift was whiplash, nothing like how he talked to her. And he'd already forgotten I said I resigned. I gave a faint smile. Just wrapping up a few things. He frowned deeper. It's late. What's even left? You seriously need to manage your time better, Yara. This procrastination thing is getting out of hand. I didn't bother saying it was his constant last-minute crap that caused it. No arguing, no justifying. I stayed quiet. He didn't push, just walked off to the bedroom. A minute later, I heard him laughing. Like actually laughing. Hadn't heard that sound in forever. He only laughed like that with Molly. I tuned it out, sat at my desk, and pulled out some research journals I hadn't finished. The Institute had changed a lot in 5 years. Even with Prof. Harrington backing me, I'd have to prove I still had it. Good thing my foundation was solid. I'd catch up fast. You're reading research journals. I hadn't even heard him come back in. He picked one up, flipped through it, then tossed it back with a smirk. Why are you reading this stuff? Do you even get it? I stacked the papers. Just browsing. I asked, did you need something? Back then, I used to light up when Derrick dropped by just to chat. Not this time. He froze like he didn't expect me to be so blunt. His face shifted awkward like he'd stepped in something. Yeah, actually. Molly just wrapped up a big project, so I'm thinking of promoting her. Should give the team a boost. What do you think? He looked straight at me. Sure, he said he wanted my opinion, but we both knew that wasn't true. I just nodded. I don't mind. Then he added, but rewards should come with penalties too. You haven't finished a project in a while, so I'm thinking of moving you to a lower-level position, just for now. Once things calm down, I'll bring you back. Don't worry, it's for the greater good. You're my fiancé, so you'll support me, right? I laughed, silently in my head. He still had no clue I'd already quit. He could read Molly like a book, knew her mood from a glance, remembered every little thing she liked. But his own fiancé handed him a resignation letter he signed, and he didn't even realize. That's what it looks like when someone just doesn't care. You can tell in 1 or 2 lines. When I stayed quiet, Derrick assumed I was gearing up to argue, like always. His face darkened. Even if you disagree, it won't change anything. The announcement's already out. Your office belongs to Molly now. Either accept the transfer or leave, he said. But just a heads up, the company's going public, might want to think twice before walking away. He really thought I'd stay. It wasn't new. I'd been shoved down the ladder more than once, all because of Molly's petty comments. I took it back then. Derrick figured I'd cling even harder now. I gave a dry smile. I didn't say I disagreed. Then it's settled, Derrick said, sounding relieved. To him, silence meant agreement. He was halfway out the door when he turned back. Didn't you used to keep our photo on your desk? Where'd it go? That's when it hit me. It wasn't just the desk. I'd plastered our photos everywhere, my phone, the bedroom wall, my wallet. Little reminders that no matter how cold he got, he still loved me. He used to laugh at that. Said I was obsessed with those silly little things. He never got it. Never understood they were the only thing keeping me from walking. Later, I saw them for what they were, proof of how pathetic I'd been. I broke the frame, I said flatly. Put it away. He frowned, immediately scanning the floor. Try not to be so clumsy. Make sure you cleaned it up. Don't want anyone getting hurt. His tone softened a little, probably because I wasn't arguing. Then he left the study. I watched him go and almost laughed. That warning wasn't about me. It was about not letting Molly get hurt. This was supposed to be our home. I'd been the one keeping it together, until a few months ago when I found a hair tie in his study. Pillows on our bed out of place. That's when I knew. Molly had been here. More than once, I called him out. I had to. Like he saw it coming, he slapped down proof they were just talking business, then turned it on me, calling me jealous and dramatic. To punish me for overthinking, he started bringing Molly over like it was nothing. She didn't even try to hide the way she looked at me, like she wanted a fight. Thing is, they never technically crossed a line. After a while, I started questioning myself. Every day felt like a loop of, what if it's just me? Honestly, if I'd put that energy into literally anything else, I'd be way ahead by now. The next morning, Derrick proudly announced Molly's big promotion, right after dropping me to the bottom rung. He hesitated at first, but once I stayed chill and acted like it didn't faze me, he bought it. Thought I'd accepted everything. He was riding high. So was I. While he threw Molly a fancy banquet, I was getting my visa approved. While they chilled at an amusement park, I was packing. One suitcase, that's all I needed. While they toasted clients at some club, I wrapped up my final handover. 2 days later, my last day at Vantrell, I wrapped things up with Sandy in HR. Without even glancing up, she said, "Before you go, stop by the CEO's office. Mr. Cromwell wants to see you." I was about to say no, then stopped. I was flying out tonight. If Derrick went out with Molly like usual, this'd be it. No more run-ins, no more anything. After 5 years, maybe a final goodbye was fair. So I headed upstairs. Right as I reached for the door, I caught a glimpse through the glass. Derrick kicked back on the couch, and Molly, in a long dress, was lying with her head in his lap. Way too close for just business. He said something, and she cracked up, covering her mouth like it was the funniest thing ever. I froze. Was about to turn back when Molly saw me. She shot up, startled. "Yara, what are you doing here?" Derrick's jaw clenched. He yanked his wrinkled suit into place and barked. "Yara Yenford, who said you could come in. Didn't I tell you not to come upstairs without permission?" He had said that once, but back then the rule was no one but me could disturb him up here. I used to think that meant I was special. Now I knew better, not that it mattered. I was already out the door. I kept my voice steady. "Sandy said you were looking for me." He scoffed, stomped to his desk, and hit the intercom. Sandy showed up minutes later. "You told Yara I needed to see her?" he asked, cold as ice. Sandy clocked the tension. She glanced at Derrick's face, then at Molly's guilty one, and hesitated way too long before mumbling, "I don't remember." Derrick let out a dry laugh, smug as hell. He turned to me, all frost and venom. "Wow, Yara, thought you grown up, but you're still the same, always plotting. If you're that paranoid, why not just move in upstairs? Better yet, plant a camera on me. Then you can stalk me 24/7 and finally give that nosy little brain of yours a break." I said would have changed a thing. "Mr. Cromwell, don't be upset. I'm sure Yara just got a little emotional because she cares," Molly cooed, running a hand down his back like she owned the place. Then she turned to me, all fake sweet. "Yara, don't get the wrong idea. I just had a headache and Mr. Cromwell was helping me relax so I could keep working. Everything we do is for the company. You really don't need to overthink it." I didn't know the full story, but I could feel it. This whole setup had Molly's fingerprints all over it. Sandy, always the diplomatic one, knew better than to speak up. Molly was Derrick's favorite, and she wasn't about to get caught in the crossfire, not that it mattered. Even if she told the truth, Derrick wouldn't have listened. I kept quiet, but he wasn't finished. Still pissed, he snapped. "No need to explain anything to her. Personal matters stay personal. This is a workplace, we follow the rules." Since Yara broke protocol, cancel her bonus this month and dock half her salary. Sandy blurted, "Mr. Cromwell, Yara already." She probably meant to mention my resignation, but Derrick shut her down with a glare. "I don't want to hear excuses. Do as I said." Sandy didn't push it. She just turned and walked out. I was about to do the same when Derrick suddenly called out. He sounded calmer now. Maybe yelling helped him feel better. "Yara, I'm not targeting you. These are just the rules. If I don't enforce them, no one will respect them." Molly jumped in, all helpful. "Exactly, Yara. Next time something's unclear, just ask Mr. Cromwell or me if he's busy." Derrick nodded like she'd solved world peace. "Molly really puts the company first. She knows more than anyone." Then he turned on me cold. "Unlike you, always jealous, always dramatic. Maybe you should try learning something from Molly." "Learn what?" "How to slide into someone else's relationship. Fake innocence while poking the bear. Steal credit, sabotage others." I let out a quiet laugh, no point calling her out. Derrick took my silence the wrong way, thought I was feeling guilty. He stepped closer, reached up to adjust my collar. Nothing was wrong with it, and said, all serious, "I know what this drama's really about. I'm disappointed in you. But hey, you've matured, so here's your reward. Let's take our wedding photos tomorrow. We'll move the date up. But don't get too excited. Marriage is just marriage," I cut in, laughing under my breath. I brushed off his hand and handed him the resignation form I'd prepped. "Derrick, we're done. I've already quit. Starting today, we have nothing to do with each other." Stiffened. Molly's eyes lit up, a smug smile twitching at the corners of her mouth. She wiped it off fast, but I caught it. She put on her sweet voice. Yara, that's a bit much. After all, you too, enough, Molly. Wait outside, Derrick cut in, voice flat. She swallowed her words, threw in some fake soft line about staying calm, then strutted off downstairs like she'd won. As soon as she was gone, Derrick's glare snapped back to me. You're out of line. I already agreed to marry you. What more do you want? Take back what you said. I'm not signing that resignation. Tear it up and I'll act like none of this happened. The confidence in his voice was almost funny, sad even. I knew exactly how he got like this, and I had no one to blame but myself. This was just another rerun. Derrick always gave me an out, and I always took it played along like we still had something real. I thought keeping the peace would save what was left. But all it did was teach him he could keep pushing. He hung on Molly's every move and barely noticed me anymore. And he still hadn't realized he'd already signed off on my resignation. I gave a quiet laugh, holding the form up. You already signed it. Everything, done procedures, handover, I can leave today. He didn't flinch at first, but the second he saw his own signature, his face changed. You forged this, I laughed. You signed it yourself. No way, I don't remember signing this. You know forging a signature's a crime, right? I could call the cops. He pulled out his phone, pretending to dial. Classic Derrick. Anytime things exploded, usually over Molly, he'd play the cop card. Thought he could scare me with it. Thought I'd still be scared. Back when Vantrell was still shaky. I kept the cops out to protect the company's image. And yeah, back then I still loved him. I didn't want us crashing over something like this, so I always backed down. But now, I was done, we were done, there was nothing left to protect. Go ahead, I said, call them. Seeing I wasn't flinching like usual, his hand froze mid-dial. You're really not scared? What's there to be scared of? He opened his mouth, then paused, eyes locked on his own signature. You signed it during that business trip, I reminded him. His shoulders stiffened. Color drained from his face. After a long beat, he muttered, You're quitting over that. I was busy. I didn't read it. It doesn't count. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Says who? I followed every step. It's official. Why wouldn't it count? Because I said so. Still bluffing, just like always. This time I didn't freeze up or blow up. I just pulled out my phone. Cool. Then you can explain that to the police. I hadn't come to pick a fight, but I was ready if he started one. The second I actually dialed the emergency number, Derrick panicked. He lunged over, yanked the phone from my hand, and hung up. Yara, are you crazy? I'm not. I just want to see if the law agrees with you. He wasn't used to this version of me, calm, firm, not backing down, and it rattled him. His mouth tightened. All right, enough. I know you're mad about Molly. Starting tomorrow, I won't see her alone anymore, okay? And the wedding, I'll book it, right now. He pulled out his phone. I've been looking at this wedding planning company. I was going to talk to you about it after the trip. Look. He held out his screen, showing some chat with customer service. I glanced at it. Yeah, he'd actually been planning a wedding. But one message popped out. He'd asked if they offered blue-themed dresses and suits. Blue, Molly's favorite. And he knew I hated that color. I'd told him before flat out. So really, who was this wedding for? I didn't even have to ask. I let out a cold laugh. My flight, tonight. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. I left the house key in the mailbox. Don't contact me unless it's absolutely necessary. Didn't wait for a reply. I just turned and walked out. Right as I opened the door, Molly practically fell in, clearly eavesdropping. Sorry, Mr. Cromwell, Yara. I just got worried you were arguing because of me, so I... She looked all flustered, eyes wide and pitiful. Yara, I heard you're leaving because of me. Please don't. Mr. Cromwell really loves you. He can't live without you. I'm sorry. I'll resign today, okay? She grabbed a blank sheet off Derrick's desk and started pretending to write a resignation letter. I couldn't help it. I laughed. But Derrick didn't see through her. He rushed over, snatched the paper and pen from her like some knight in shining armor. This has nothing to do with you. You're innocent. If anyone should leave, it's not you. Molly blinked dramatically. But if Yara goes, what'll happen to the company? I don't believe the company can't run without her. Then he turned and gave me a cold, pointed look. Maybe Molly's offer to resign shook something loose in him, because suddenly he didn't bother trying to stop me. Yara, think it through. The company'll be fine without you. But once you're out, good luck finding a boss who treats you better than I did. You want to leave, then I didn't stick around for the rest. I walked out. His voice chased me down the hall. Yara Yenford, don't come crawling back. I never would. That night I left for the airport with just my luggage and flew straight to England. Professor Harrington had already set everything up. By the next day, I was officially back in research, finally picking up the dream I'd left behind. Back then, Derrick said he liked robotics, so I'd picked it as my major. Threw myself into it for him. Over time, Derrick's interests shifted like weather. But I only got more obsessed with my research. Even during my years at Vantral, stuck doing stuff totally unrelated to robotics, I kept up with it on the side. So jumping back and felt easy. Derrick kept messaging me like he still thought I'd cave, still throwing me chances to come back. I ignored them all. Then he sent some photos Molly's reassignment notice. He wrote, "I looked into it. I didn't approve your resignation. Molly processed it by mistake. She didn't realize it was from you. I've transferred her to logistics. She'll never touch company operations again. You've made your point. Isn't it time to stop?" Not long after, Molly also sent me a long, dramatic apology. At first glance, it looked sincere, but it was an acrostic. Each line spelled out subtle digs at me. Petty, obvious stuff. No doubt Derrick told her to send it. Probably didn't even read it before forwarding it along. Back then, even the smallest thing I said got twisted into an attack on Molly. Now she was straight up insulting me, and he acted like he didn't see it. Obviously, Derrick had told her to send it. I scoffed. Typical. I deleted them both from my contacts. Felt like closing a door I should have slammed years ago. I figured that was the end of it. But that night, Derrick video called me out of nowhere. On screen, he looked like a ghost of who he used to be. Drawn face, tired voice. "Yara, can we stop this? It's been so long already. Can we just get back together?" The pleading in his tone felt surreal, almost laughable. Did he seriously think I was still throwing a tantrum? "I didn't stop you because I didn't care. I knew you were traveling and wanted you to have space. Yara, it's been 5 years. Don't tell me you're really ready to let all that go." Before I could say anything, his voice softened. "Let's not talk about the bad stuff. Come back tomorrow. I actually have a surprise for you, something you've wanted for years." "I was gonna wait until you got back, but I can't hold it in anymore. Here's a preview." He shifted the camera. The screen filled with tulips covering the whole room. He smiled, holding up a ring box and waving it. "You always said I wouldn't marry you. Well, here it is. White tulips, your favorite. And the rings from one vow, the kind you can only customize once in a lifetime. I even invited reporters. I was planning to upload the proposal video." He just kept going. I looked past him at the tulips in full bloom. He finally got the flower right. Tulips were my favorite, but white tulips. They stood for pure, flawless love. Right now, it felt like a sick joke. "I'm not coming back," I said quietly. "You're not coming back." He froze, then sighed. "I knew it. You're still mad. Fine, then I'll come to you. We'll do the proposal in Englane instead." "Yara, you really got me this time. You should be proud. This is the first time I've ever compromised for a woman." You think I had patience for Molly? Not even a tenth of what I had for you. He was gearing up to brag again. Same old Derrick. I cut him off. "You misunderstood." I picked up the document next to me and held it up to the camera. "I immigrated. I'm not coming back." When I hung up, he just sat there stunned, like his brain hadn't caught up yet. The ring box slipped from his hand and hit the floor, but I knew better. He'd catch up soon enough. He always did. He should have seen this coming the second he chose Molly and turned my life into a nightmare. This time, his theatrics didn't shake me. I left the call behind and threw myself back into research. Maybe he finally got the message because he stopped trying to win me back. Instead, he went full public with Molly traveling, showing off, live streaming their so-called love. Felt like I was watching two totally separate plotlines from a cheesy drama. While they were toasting new deals and having candlelit dinners, I was in the lab debugging robotics software. While they shopped and ate at influencer hotspots, I was knee-deep in wires, trying to fix a bot that wouldn't stop glitching. While they partied and got drunk, posting their relationship goals online and soaking up the likes, I hit a breakthrough, a whole new approach. A month later, all the long nights paid off. We cracked a major problem: autonomous standing in unpredictable environments. Sure, the cost was still steep, but real progress doesn't show off. It builds slow and solid. No one knows what the future holds, but that night the whole team celebrated like it meant something, because it did. Prof. Harrington was over the moon. He booked a 5-star hotel just to mark the breakthrough. After a few drinks, his face was flushed, and he kept holding my hand, going on about how I'd left too soon. Said if I'd joined the team earlier, we might have nailed it 2 years ago. Then he pulled me aside, right in front of everyone, juniors, seniors, the whole crew, and called me his best student. I couldn't help feeling a little embarrassed, but I couldn't ignore the sting of regret. Those 5 years could have been the best of my career wasted on the wrong people, the wrong place. Still, better late than never. After dinner, we all split up and headed home. When I got to the front yard of my rental, I saw someone standing there. At first, I thought I was tipsy and imagining things. I rubbed my eyes. But then Derrick saw me and staggered over, barely able to stay upright. The second he got close, the smell hit me: alcohol. Strong. He was clearly wasted. I frowned a little. He stopped a few feet away and slurred. You look like you've gained some weight. Wow, rare moment. He'd never noticed stuff like that before. Under the streetlight, I caught a glimpse of his eyes red and tired. I smiled. No stress. I eat well, sleep well. Of course, I've filled out a bit. I used to be barely hanging on 57, barely 99 pounds. Back then, I was stuck taking care of him, stewing over how obvious his thing for someone else was. Lost my appetite day after day. Slipped into a mild eating disorder without even realizing. It wasn't until I came to England that I started healing. Started looking and feeling like myself again. Why are you here? I asked, calm, like I was talking to a stranger. And maybe that's what he was now. He seemed to feel it too. His lips pressed into a line before he finally said, I broke up with Molly. I've thought it through. I'm willing to give up everything and come to England with you. Plus 25 bonus, I know you're still angry, he kept going. But I get it now, I was wrong. I'll handle everything back in our lunch, leave it all behind. We can start fresh. I looked at him, so sure, so determined, and couldn't help laughing. Handle it how? Or is the company about to go under? I hadn't kept tabs on Derrick, but a few old coworkers still messaged me now and then. Turned out, not long after I left, the project Molly was running completely imploded. Damages, huge. Compensation, massive. Derrick and Molly spent weeks groveling to their partners. Eventually, they got one last shot, but only if they redid the entire project from scratch. Funny enough, that lined up with when Derrick started video calling me. I didn't learn the full picture until later. I couldn't tell if his apology back then was real or just another attempt to pull me back and use me like before. Didn't matter now. Later, Molly stepped up again, trying to redeem herself. Derrick gave her another shot, and the project crashed. Hard. Millions of users' data got leaked. Now Derrick had to pay damages to both the partners and the users, easily over $1 million. Years of work gone in smoke. He clearly hadn't expected me to know. He just stood there, staring, lips trembling as big, silent tears rolled down his pale face. I'm sorry, Yara, I was wrong. I should have listened to you. Please don't shut me out. Come back. Let's start over, okay? As he spoke, Derrick dropped to his knees. Back then, that would have broken me. I would have caved. I would have done everything to save him. Now, I felt nothing, like I was watching someone else's life play out. Maybe he saw it on my face because he didn't stop. He rolled up his sleeve. Ugly scars ran along his arm. I recognized them instantly. They spelled my name, Yara. I admit I failed you, he said, voice cracking. But after you left, I was hurting too. That empty house every night, I couldn't stop thinking about you. Every time I missed you, I carved your name into my arm. Being with Molly, it was just to provoke you, to get you to come back. You're the only one I ever loved. I never wanted us to break up. I never thought you'd really leave. I regret it. I swear I regret everything. He collapsed completely, clutching my leg as if afraid I'd disappear. Yell at me, hit me, whatever. I deserve it. Just don't leave me again, please. I was about to shove him off, then paused. All right, but only if you agree to one condition. What condition? His eyes lit up like I'd just thrown him a lifeline. I pulled out my phone, dialed the police, and held it out to him. I have proof Molly embezzled company funds, evidence of her financial crimes at Vantrell. You call the cops. Let her face what she deserves. Froze, pressed the phone into his hand. Once we're back together, Vantrell becomes ours. So protecting what's rightfully ours, what's there to hesitate about? He still didn't press it. Molly's still young. Even if she didn't do much, she tried. She worked hard. I scoffed. And what about me? The crap I went through, everything I lost, does that just not count? And she's still out there. How am I supposed to believe you won't get dragged back into her mess again? I leaned in, voice low like a whisper laced with poison. Turn her in and I'll stay. No doubts. No loose ends. He stared at me, eyes wide. For a second, it looked like my words finally broke through. He took a breath, jaw clenched, and hit connect. Hello, before the operator could even finish, he hung up and flung the phone aside. No, Yara, anything else I'll do it, but not this. That'd destroy her whole life. If she goes to prison, she's done. I smiled. I'd known exactly what he'd choose. I walked over, slow and steady, and picked up the phone. See, even now there's still 2 people in your heart. It's too crowded. Your love, it's not pure. It's not clean. Since you've chosen her, then don't come back. It's better this way for both of us. Derrick opened his mouth to say something, but a call came through. He answered, eyes going wide. After a quiet, I'm sorry, he turned and walked away. I watched him go and felt something unfamiliar. A kind of release, sharp, clean, like something had finally been ripped out of my chest. I didn't understand it fully until the next day, when I got that message. Early the next morning, a former coworker reached out. She told me Derrick had been in a serious car accident, nearly died. Some passersby got him to the hospital just in time. What shocked everyone was what happened after. When Derrick woke up, he sat there blank for a long while. Then the first thing he did was sue Molly. Later, I learned why. The day he rushed off, Molly had called him in distress. When he got there, she showed her real face tried to kill him and stage it as a car accident to collect his life insurance. Someone happened to pass by. That's the only reason he lived. I think that's when he finally saw her for who she was. In court, Derrick didn't hesitate. With solid evidence, he showed no mercy. Molly was sentenced to death. She cried, begged, broke down over and over. This time, he didn't waver. After that, he wrote a will, transferring all his assets to me. Then he jumped from the roof of a 30-story building. Around that same time, our research hit another breakthrough. I thought about it for 2 seconds, then donated all his assets to the Institute in his name. He was gone. There was no point holding on to resentment. I didn't need to carry our past with me anymore.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you won't miss the next one.